Right, okay. So we are almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Tiff, we're live on YouTube for the first time ever. The first time we've ever done anything like this on YouTube, even though we've been on YouTube for a little while now, but a live session. How about that?
Exciting.
And I forgot to put my earpiece in.
What are you doing?
There we go. I can hear you better now.
I can't hear you at all now you've done that.
So,
this is the first time we've gone live and you've done something that's completely cut you off from me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
We're trying to
now.
get this new technology to work and I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can again now.
I can hear you now. I think first of all, if you can hear me, I can hear about 10 different things. If you can hear
I just
me,
want to point out that working with amateurs, told never to work with amateurs or people that pretend to be YouTubers that actually stuck to proper presenters like Jeremy Clarkson. I used to work with, you know, Quentin Wilson,
we're trying to get
Henson. I used
technology
to work
to
with
work.
professionals, and now I'm stuck with you. And what are you doing with your earpieces?
I can hear some echo.
I can't hear you at all again now. You're chatting away.
If you can hear me, I can hear about 10 different things. If you can
I
hear
just
me,
want to point out that working with amateurs, told never to work with amateurs or people that pretend to be YouTubers that actually stuck to proper presenters like Jeremy Clarkson. I used to work with, you know, Quentin Wilson.
we're trying to
Now I
get
can hear you.
I used to work with professionals, and now I'm stuck with you. And what are you doing with your earpieces?
Here we go. Tiff, we are
I can't
live
hear
on
you at all
YouTube.
again now.
We're live on YouTube, which is good. And we're going to kick off. I want to know from you, I want to know your favorite YouTube moment. So I want you to tell me your favorite YouTube moment. We've been done lots of different videos, about 2 years worth of videos, but I want to know what your favorite moment of YouTube is.
I can't really believe I've suffered you for 2 years, to be honest. But yes, it's been great fun. When you stay on YouTube, obviously on Lovecars on YouTube, and we've done some great stuff. I like the variety we've done, but I really enjoyed our trip to the Riviera and the Mcrae and the DBS and meeting Tap Bells halfway. Obviously, the Riviera wasn't count the south of France in one of your usual tricks. You ended up buying me fish and chips at Worthing, but I thought it was a lovely story. So I enjoyed doing that one. But then talking of variety, of course, also I got a motorbike. Motorbikes aren't the most popular YouTube things, but I loved you and the little Morgan three-wheeler V-twin and me on a big motorbike V-twin. It was fantastic fun.
I've got to say that
Here we are.
Morgan
Here we
three-wheeler
are.
has to be the
It's
most
gonna
fun
be
car bang for buck you could possibly buy.
Love to
It's
now.
absolutely brilliant. Love that car so
What?
much.
What?
And where did we end up? That was another seaside one as well. We ended up at Western Seaside on that one. So we went to Worthing for the fish and chips with the DBS and the 720. And we went to Western Supermare in the other one. So we got a bit of a thing about seasides, different coasts, but we need to go to maybe California seaside or somewhere a bit more.
This is what you've been promising me for about 2 years now. This is why you lure me into these trips, you know, thinking I'm going to go somewhere nice, and I just end up somewhere, you know, particularly average with some fairly average food.
Well, our old Manu from Australia said we're going to get over there one day, so that's our kind of get out of jail card. So hopefully one day with him we'll get over.
We've got to get out of our houses first before we can get out of jail or get to another country. That's the shame that we're all stuck in at the moment.
Yeah, indeed, and that's hence the reason we are called Lovecars Lockdown. YouTube, there's lots of different memories, and working with you has been a lot of fun, I have to say. But the BAC Mono, whoa, that was possibly one of the best motoring experiences ever, because it was one of those things people don't realise. In one day, we're going to come on to the questions in a moment, by the way, but in one day, we filmed a whole item with in the town, on the open roads, on the beautiful country roads of Snowdonia, and then we had 1 hour at Anglesey to make it look like we were there all day. And following you, I don't want to be a bit sycophantic here, but following you in a single-seater car around Anglesey with the sun setting that was a very special moment for me.
And I'd like to point out, before we do get questions as well, that I think people can criticise our film, we do try to, at a very, very low budget, create these wonderful shots, which I'm very impressed with the crew we got, with Tom and Nick and Matt. Hello, boys. And, that mono shot within the day for about 300 quid, whereas Top Gear doing the similar sort of thing has got £1 million per show. They would be spending £200,000 on a shoot like that. And I always hope people appreciate the sort of quality we're creating on a very limited budget, which is why, of course, we love our Patreon supporters, and we need more of them so we can maybe have 2 days filming a mono in Anglesey instead of a rushed one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point as well. And I think most people, certainly the people that are taking the time to come and ask us questions and tune into this live session, for sure they'll understand. And I think they realise that the quality's pretty good anyway. But it could always be better. We always want to strive to improve. I guess that leads us on to the television show a little bit that we've been making for those of you that have been around for a while. And wow, it's going to be very, very, very exciting because it's been frustrating as well. TV takes so long to do. We filmed some items a year ago, and they're only just it's only just going to come to fruition over the next couple of months now. So that's something to look forward to for us, and hopefully for you as well.
Stand by. You've been teasing everyone your tweets of all the fun we've been having, and eventually they're going to see it. It's coming. It is coming.
They say people, they think all these TV lovers say, "Oh yeah, no, next week," and weeks sort of turn into months. But now we've got categoric timescales, which is good and exciting. But before we get on to the questions, very quickly, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Well, one question: what have you been doing during the main thing you've been doing during lockdown? The main things.
Oh, well, the grass is very nicely cut. I've tidied up all the drawers in my office, and I've refiled a lot of things, and I've been through all my parents' junk. They all passed away many 20 years ago, and I've been getting boxes of rubbish out, going through letters of my dad getting permanently caught by the police for doing 26 miles an hour and getting fined 2 shillings and sixpence. He once paid his fine in about, I don't know, this is 1938 or something, in farthing coins. So he went into the court in a sort of stack of 300 coins. So a bit of nostalgia time, and walking the dog, and it's writing stories. I've done some stuff all about my favourite racetracks, which is out on Drive Tribe now. So I've been doing a bit of writing, and otherwise, having a bit of a relaxing time. I actually feel guilty, really. I mean, I think I've got a really nice garden. And I think once we applaud all our national health people on a Thursday night, sometimes I think we should applaud people that live in apartment blocks, high-rise towers, terraced houses in the middle of nowhere, who are obeying these restrictions, with no garden or anything. I think they really deserve a huge round of applause, because they must be really suffering in the big families in small apartments. So good for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Actually, I read one of your articles on Drive Tribe about Spa. You were saying about Spa and just saying it's one of the most special race courses in the world. You must have be able to elaborate on that story, or what are you? Quite a few different.
The elaboration was I've crashed there twice, big time. But no, I did my 5 favourite racetracks, and it wasn't in any particular order. And it was really nice to go back through my history books. It was really how I discovered these circuits for the first time. I didn't want to talk about circuits I hadn't raced on, which sadly included the Nordschleife, the great Nürburgring, so that didn't go into my top 5. But it was the variety I was lucky to have: the street circuit at Mcrae and Suzuka in Japan, Le Mans, of course, and Spa. And then my final one was the Daytona, for the Daytona 24-hour race, which isn't a great racetrack as a challenge to a driver, but just so different to race on, and I'm going up and around the banking. But yeah, Spa, I had a big shunt there in that Jaguar XJR 15, that one make series, when I dropped it at the top of Eau Rouge and smattered it into the barriers, and crashed again in a GT3 Aston Martin when I aquaplaned off just on the straight down to the bus stop and clapped at the barriers pretty hard again. So Spa bites, and that's. But I like a track that bites. If you go to some of these, tracks with no danger, you don't have that edge that gives what I want as a racing driver, but that, living on the edge is what it should be, not living with a huge runoff area and a safety net there, because then you don't get that really nerve-edged feel when you're driving.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. don't forget, we did do something else as well. We did the Q&A with Ben Collins, the one and only Ben Collins.
Yes.
That
a lovely Ben, a lovely man, Ben, you know, because he was the second Stig, the white Stig. I think he had the longest time being the Stig. And then, of course, he wrote his autobiography, and somehow they fell out of love. But then, of course, he does his stunt driving for James Bond films, and recently, of course, the Ford versus Ferrari, that great Le Mans film that came out this summer. Also, he's writing a book about Aston Martins. He writes books about driving. He's incredibly adaptable, and also we forget he's a great racing driver. He raced at Le Mans a lot and a lot of success in motor racing. So he's a racing driver, a stunt driver for major films, a Stig, and a book writer. So a really great, lovely man and a great all-rounder.
Yeah, I recommend, if you haven't seen that video, it hasn't had many views, sadly. Ben certainly deserves a lot more than the 10,000 or so views it's had. But
but there's a bit of a pink filter on it, though. It was your fault. I mean, before anyone watches it, I wasn't sunburnt. I don't have a pink face normally. So, you know, again, we're learning YouTube Live. I feel I'm better lit today. I've got my lighting in the office better organised for this show.
You look lovely. I'm going to interrupt by one question that is quite funny. Joe Achilles, a very good YouTuber. Is it true Tiff is so rich he has a train line running through his estate?
I tell you what, I do have a train line running through my land, and that was because I was a bit poor. So I've got a wonderful mansion of a house, and it's about half price thanks to the fact that, yes, there is a railway line right through my land. I've got my own crossing to get to my meadow on the other side.
You have a beautiful, beautiful house. It's a lovely house. I tell you, on the racing subject, one thing that I've been doing, other than gardening and trying to keep busy with the TV show that's taking a long time, I have been watching Drive to Survive, and I watched Series 2 first. I never watched Series 1. It's on Netflix. Wow, it is absolutely brilliant. For people like me that haven't raced like that, you sort of see warts and all, and you get to know these drivers and team managers. Gunther Steiner from Haas, what a character he is.
Actually, because you said you were going to actually watch that first show of the second show of the second series this afternoon, because I haven't yet got lured into spending 8 hours of my life on watching it, because I sort of feel I know what it's like on the inside of motorsport. But I did enjoy the Haas one, and poor old Gunther and his drivers knocking into each other. I read at the time, but I never really looked at Magnus. I feel it was Magnussen's fault. I'm a big Kevin fan, but I went through that clash as they came onto the straight on the opening lap at Silverstone, and I thought Kevin was a bit bold trying to go around the outside of Grosjean. I actually felt sorry for Grosjean, and of course Roman has been blamed for so many accidents in the past, but I think on this occasion I slightly sympathise with him.
It's amazing how many of these drivers fall out with each other, and how much rivalry there really is.
Well, the person you have to beat the most is your teammate, and that's what brings these, this tension within teams. Which is why if I ran a team, like I've always said, I would very strictly have a number one and a number two, and they would be employed as such. And I'm sorry if everybody doesn't like team orders, but that's the way motorsport ran, in the past for so long. That's where you get best results for the team, and that's where you avoid your drivers hitting each other.
Carl Fredrickson just said, Drive to Survive is worth every minute to watch. Couldn't agree more. It is absolutely brilliant. So I do urge you to watch a little bit more.
I'll spend the next few days then catching up and watch the rest of the series too.
It's worth it just for Gunther, to be honest. It's funny because some of the people you really like and you really think are fun people, and then you watch them and you think, oh, maybe they're not such nice people after all. They're all very confident. Well, some of them super confident, then others have got really low opinions of themselves. It's really funny fly on the wall. Very good. Vipin just says, hey Paul, what are you wearing? Well, I'm very pleased to be wearing an Autoism t-shirt from our friend Leon, who runs a brilliant little car club called Autoism. So I'm very, very proud to be wearing this for his charity.
A lovely young man. Hello from Tiff as well.
Oh, he's a lovely man. Speaking of car clubs, our other mate, Bradley, he has set up a car club during this whole lockdown. He originally called it Somerset Car Club, SEC. Somerset Car Club. I don't know why, Bradley, but not many people were too interested, other than a few people in Somerset with their tractors, about joining the car club. But now it changed to SEC. It's become almost a private members club. and it's gone mad. He's got about 500 different members within about 4 or 5 weeks, all with lovely cars, McLarens and Ferraris and all sorts of stuff. So
we look forward to meeting them then, Bradley,
Yeah.
and driving their cars. Thank you.
Well, I haven't told you, but we're going to the inaugural launch if ever we do get out of this lockdown, so we can get that as well. So yes, well done to Bradley. That's a nice thing to do during your lockdown. And we're going to go through some questions because we have got loads and loads and loads. I'm going to start with one that allows you to answer and lets me have a look through some of the questions. So will Tiff do a review on best hot hatch ever made? Well, I think we've done that, and will be made again. Will the rear-wheel drive 6-cylinder B58, that is BMW 140i, talk about hot hatch videos? Because we've done one of those as well.
You can talk about hot hatch videos for a very, very long time. Ever since my first road car I did for Top Gear back in 1987 was the Alpha Sud, which actually was the first hot hatch, because everyone talks about the Golf, GTI or the Golf being the first one, but in fact the Alpha Sud began it all. But yes, the BMW rear-wheel drive hot hatches, and it's so hard to pick a winner every time, and it depends. Honda Civic Type R's, they're getting faster, and they've got, was it 400 horsepower? There's an AMG Merc, isn't there now, with 400 horsepower? I always remember people talking about front-wheel drive. You can only ever get 200 horsepower. And I think they're up to about 350 horsepower with front-wheel drive. But, of course, hot hatches being four-wheel drive, now is that cheating? Are they still hot hatches not being two-wheel drive? It's where you start categorising some of these cars, because they're getting bigger and bigger. The new Honda Civic Type R is like a BMW 3 Series, a sort of medium-sized saloon. So, yeah, it's good hot hatches. They're always fun, and everybody loves driving them. But, of course, I've got my rear-wheel drive bias. So, obviously, the BMW would be the one for me.
Well, the previous generation M140i BMW, of course, rear-wheel drive. The next gen, the new gen, the current gen, is all-wheel drive. But the reality is people like us, and maybe the people that are watching this, that like the rear-wheel drive, and that is a brilliant, fun car. If you haven't seen that video, that's one of my favourite videos. Ryan Cullen smashing across the back seat because he forgot to put his seatbelt on. One of the best things ever. But the new BMW four-wheel drive, I don't think is a bad thing for the majority. Don't get me wrong. I would prefer the rear-wheel drive for the fun factor alone. But
I think it's important to try and get your driver feel. It's how they feel, because the Hyundai we all loved in that group test, just because it gave the best driver feedback. I mean, some could be faster. I've got the Nürburgring lap record, me not worrying about the Nürburgring. And it is, I think you want to enjoy driving your car. And, that's why I like an old manual gearbox, just to be a bit more involved, you drive the car. So it's not, for me, the fastest or the grippiest or the four-wheel drivest. It's, the one that I just sit behind the wheel and get nice feedback and enjoy driving, which I think everybody that drove that Hyundai on that day went for that car.
Hyundai i30N, what a brilliant car. Understated as well. Tiff, Jojo says, hi both. Tiff, question for you. Do you reckon you could beat Jason Plato in the same car? That. Of course you can beat Jason Plato.
Question. Plato.
How do you insult
Lovely man, he's very good. He is very, very good. But there's good and there's very, very, very good. No, Jason, I'd be hard pushed to beat Jason now, because obviously he's, a regular racing driver, and my racing talents are getting a bit rusty. But so Jason's wonderful. I've always had so much fun on Fifth Gear racing with Jason. We had so many laughs. We got such a great support. I think the chemistry between me and him was almost as good as the chemistry between me and you, Paul. But and then all of a sudden I got dropped from Fifth Gear for whatever reason Discovery had. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to see Jason again. Good man.
I tell you what, he who laughs last with that TV. I wish we could share some of the things, but we can't at the moment with the TV about who's interested or who's taking our channel. But Rahul says, Tiff, I don't want to ask him this, Rahul. This is a bit... Okay, it's a joke, obviously. Tiff, I always wondered whether you were 90 or 80. Rahul.
90 or 80 or 18?
All right, let's move on.
I feel 18. I might look 90.
Yeah, I can answer something on that, because you have got more energy than pretty much anyone I know. You last to bed, always in the bar, and you're not necessarily the first up. You're up early. You don't mind getting up at 6, 7 to.
But I'm grumpy. I'm not happy getting up in the mornings. I'm always a bit grumpy.
I never said you. You're up. At least you're up.
Just keep me feeding the Red Bull. As long as I've got the Red Bull, that'll keep me going. Cups of coffee or Red Bull. Other products are available.
AJ86 says Plato wouldn't stand a chance. This is Tiff. He doesn't do losing. Yes. So we have Alan Terex says, by the way, it is Ramadan, so we should be saying Ramadan Mubarak to everybody if you're Muslim. When are you getting a simulator set up in your home? Because there's lots of that at the moment.
I'm not going to do it. I know I would get addicted to it and be spending 18 hours a day trying to compete. I mean, I've done it with my kids. You know, my boys grew up with a little steering wheel, and no, I'm just avoiding it because I know I would get addicted. And I watched them all. I watched some of those races, you know, that everyone's doing. And I watched Lando Norris have a brilliant win in the Circuit of America, beat all the IndyCar boys, which probably upset them. But of course, Lando's been a gamer since he was about 6 years old, so. You know, it depends on how good a gamer. And there's so many crashes you get knocked off and dive bombed. And after a while, I don't know, it gets a bit silly. But I'm sort of keeping in touch with the esports, but trying to avoid getting drawn into it.
You know what lets that down? The commentary. No disrespect to it. It's hard. It's really hard. And you haven't got an actual car to cars to comment on. But I don't know. They don't seem to be as good as perhaps someone like you would be if you were.
Well, I'd lighten it up. I think they're trying to commentate as if it's a real race, you know, when we all know it's not a real race. And perhaps maybe let's just loosen up a bit and say, oh, he's got his controller wrong here. But there's some of the races, Jenson Button seems to be amazing at. I do watch those Legends races where they race like old McLaren Formula 1 cars. They're around Lime Rock or something. Recently, and Button seems to be the man to beat. And there was an amazing race round Lime Rock with Button chasing Magnussen, Jan Magnussen, not Kevin, and it looked like a genuine race. If they're really skilled at it, like the real esports guys, they do recreate races that do look amazingly real. But most of the pack down the middle are just smashing and rolling over and then starting off again. But it's quite a skill. The esports. You know, real regulars are amazing game players.
And Ollie Webb, who's going to be on the TV show, he's doing a lot of. Ollie, I just want to get I want to get the best sim in my house. Ollie, he is my hero. Just the best sim arrives, and he's
just the chief blagger, doesn't he? He's probably wearing his free driving gloves and his free shoes and his free clothing and his free kit. Ollie is a great YouTuber. Well, Instagram is where he really makes up. His wonderful wife to be. They're not married yet, are they? His fiancée. You know, she skydives off buildings, and Ollie goes up, and they got some most amazing shots. So amazing to see him now doing that, as you say.
Pixel Culture. He's having a conversation with someone else who's quite funny, but he's also from Perth, and I see some mention of Bathurst. But this is what I'm going to mention. What's all this about? Thomas Harrison Lloyd has just donated £5 live on this YouTube, and he's asked a question. This is unbelievable.
When you get to the top of the queue, that's what, donate more money and you'll get your question answered.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's a Bruce's bonus. So Thomas Harrison Lloyd, thank you very much. Tiff, well, thank you all really, but Thomas, of course we're going to jump straight to you because it's standing right out in front of me with a big green light flashing. Tiff, what was it like to drive Mcrae's WRC Subaru in Spain 1997?
Awesome. Yeah, so some of you might not know it. It was a Top Gear story with Top Gear. Great thing with Top Gear, the access you have, you know, as you see Chris Harris now just driving some of the most amazing machines, which, you know, we on little Lovecars won't get to have. But I was actually at the official test session around the tarmac streets, the hills around Barcelona for the actual in the warm-up shakedown for the Spanish round of the World Rally Championship. And I was allowed to drive. First, Colin drove me up this test stage. There was a test stage before the event. And then I was allowed up, you know, with the co-driver alongside. And it was an amazing honour. And it was a manual gearbox. I was going clack, clack, clack. And it was just one of the greatest experiences I've had.
Because if No. I shouldn't cut you short with Thomas because he just donated a $5. But
Yeah.
anyone else who wants to hear this, they should look at our last video, one of our last video we ever filmed. No, it wasn't. The Lancia and the Subaru, because you mentioned all this in the car.
Yes.
And Thomas, we'll talk for 10 minutes, $5. We're a cheap date. We're definitely a cheap date. Tiff for president, just inject petrol.
Poor old Trump really put his foot in it. Well, put his foot in his more than normal, didn't he, with the disinfectant one? I think his sarcasm, whatever it was supposed to be, didn't quite work out. And yeah, but petrol injection, I'm sure that would cure coronavirus.
No, actually. Let me just qualify.
Good point.
Do not inject petrol into your system. But I know Ben probably did when he was a sting. Christoph on Patreon. Oh my goodness, we got a whole thing filmed with Patreon because we asked our Patreon contributors to give us some questions. We did it 2 weeks ago. We haven't even made that live or put it on there. So that is absolutely mission number one. Because Christoph, David, Stebbings, Manu, Teddy, etc., these guys are just absolutely amazing. They've been there from the beginning doing this fiber stuff every single month in, month out. We just got another $5. All the questions here. So Nick and Tom are sort of in the background. Tom is going to be 30 years old tomorrow, by the way. Can you believe it? I know. He looks about 15.
The most.
But Nick and Tom are in the background. And Nick keeps sending me the questions because it's hard to...
Well, get on with it then.
Then I get this massive green flashing light on my screen when somebody donates a $5. I get all excited. So E-Corp, E-C-O-R-P-E, no space, just in case you want to look them up. I'm going to ask you, Tiff, what advice would you give someone trying to learn stick shift for both left and right-hand driving? I'm American, I plan on getting a manual. Good question.
It does come incredibly naturally, because obviously racing cars, I grew up with a left stick, left gear lever on the left. But racing cars, of course, they're always on the right. They always have been in most racing cars anyway. So I actually had to learn to drive with a right-hand gear change when I first jumped into racing cars at the racing drivers' school near Brands Hatch, where I went and paid £1 a lap. And it doesn't take long, to be honest. You won't find a big difference. And because we regularly go to France, have rental cars, or America, and we jump from side to side. So, you'll find it's easier than you think it's going to be. So, and enjoy manuals. The more people that drive manuals, I mean, it actually disappoints me that guys racing now don't have that extra skill requirement, because when you were turning the steering wheel and had to take hand off the wheel and you had these 3 pedals and blip the throttle on downshifts, it was an extra skill. And in fact, I'll never forget, I had a Japanese team manager when I raced Formula 3 at Macau. Most of my Macau races are in Formula Pacific or Formula Atlantic, where if you read my Drive Time story, you'll learn all about that. But I did do the first Formula 3 regulation where Senna was there. And my Japanese team boss, which is more of a financial boss and not really a driver at all, was sat at the first corner, and he came after practice and he said, "That's Senna, very, very special, very special." And I said, "Well, how do you know?" I just listened to gear shift on the down change.
Yeah. And
he just listened to Senna changing down in a Formula 3 car amongst 30 other drivers, including me, and he could hear just this extra. So every little extra edge of gear changing, braking, accelerating is a driver's talent. And the sad thing is now they're slowly taking away more and more of those driver skills, making it easier for the very good driver to challenge the brilliant driver. So, more people should gear change.
Well, E-Corp, sorry. So that hopefully answers your question. And when you get really good, then try a bit of heel and toe as well. Then that will... and maybe we'll do a video on that, Tiff. I think that'd be a good thing to do. Show you
the heel and toe. Just stick your foot on the brake and just somehow clobber the throttle. That's all you have to do. Leave it neutral, stick your foot hard on the brake, and then somehow twist your foot so you can make the accelerator, make the revs come up. Just practice that a lot before you then do it for real. So to the middle of the gear change, halfway between the higher gear to the lower gear, just give it a big blip. Makes the downshift, makes the car decelerate so much more smoothly.
Tiff, Gio, who we borrowed his RS5 on a shoot against the Mustang Bullet, he said, 1, happy birthday to Tom, and 2, he said, do you miss your what car did you have? The BMW Touring, 540i Touring, wasn't it? Do you miss it? Because I saw.
Yes, I mean, luckily I've got a Jaguar XF Sport Brake now, which is almost identical to the BMW 5 Series Touring, both estate cars, of course, with their fancy names. So yeah, I'm very happy with the Jaguar XF I've got now on loan from Hendy's Performance, good boys down in Southampton who are doing a lot of tuning up, and should be thought of if you're thinking of doing that, especially on Fords. So yeah, but I miss the BMs. They were lovely, but I'm no longer a BMW ambassador, so they've gone back to BMW.
Okay. Assad Khan says, can you wreck some cheap economy cars for the channel? It'll be a huge laugh. Well, it would be a laugh, but we haven't got the punts. We haven't got the money. I mean,
what does he want us to do? Rent them or buy them?
Wreck them. W-R-E-C.
Wreck them?
Yeah.
Gosh, for goodness sake. My sons are driving around in a £1,000 2002 Vauxhall Corsa. I don't wreck them. I want my sons to drive them.
Game Racer says, when he was on a speed awareness course, so this must be in the UK, I was pleasantly surprised to see Tiff on the training video driving a Focus ST. Do you have many videos? Do you have many memories of this? Well,
yeah. Halo on my head. Halo on my head.
Did you see yourself when you went to the same speeding course? Tiff Needell?
What? I haven't been on a speeding course. I still have an amazingly clean license. So apparently I don't think my film's still on anymore. But I did actually want to get caught speeding so I could go into a speeding awareness room and sit there at the back and then suddenly see myself come up and see what the instructor had to say. But yeah, I think a lot of people enjoyed I was demonstrating the braking distance, how much it varies. If you just go 5 miles an hour too fast, it's a lot longer to stop.
Okay. Thomas Harrison Lloyd also said, what do you both think about the current BMW 7 Series and upcoming 4 Series, the grills? Now, we did the X7M on the new TV show, and the grill was a bit of a bone of contention, but I just think it's a bit of progress. On the 7 Series, it is massive. It is huge. And you think about your X5 grill, how small that is.
It does look prettier. I still think the little X5 that we've got, which was the family car, is a 2008, so it's 12 years old now, and the grill's small and nicer. But it's just fashion. I've never been one that bothered with styling, and I never get too upset. You know, most of the car journalists go really outraged about a small little flip at the back of, I don't notice it. As long as you feel happy with it parked outside your house, that's all that matters. And what other people think, forget it.
Well, it's funny you say that, because you look at a lot of these journos who are styling experts, but you look at what clothes they wear and how they have their hair, and I'm telling you now, you would not ask them to style a bike in your house or to a shop. So what makes them all of a sudden a style expert with a car? There are very few people that have got style. There are a few, anyway, that's a subjective thing.
Remember when we did that SUV of the folks? I didn't like the Lamborghini Urus. That was one styling cues, and yet the journalists all seem to think that's fantastic. But as I said, I thought it looked like being crashed into a wall when it all crumpled up.
Well, the car's fantastic. The styling is very busy on the Urus, I think, is the general consensus. We have got more incoming green flashing lights. Henning Salverson.
Oh, God, we'll be here for about 5 hours. If you lot keep on giving Paul a fiver to try and get his overdraft down, we're going to be here for a long time.
We'll be like this. Tiff, I know you've driven a McLaren F1 a couple of times. What do you think of the F1? Is it one of the greatest road cars of all time?
Well, it is. And it goes back, for me, it'll never be beaten. It goes back to me talking about gear changing in Ayrton Senna, because there's a supercar that, you sit in the middle like a racing car. You've got no power steering, you've got little mechanical gear change, you've got no power brakes. It's totally analog, so it's totally down to the driver. No traction control, no computers getting in the way of, when you open the throttle, it powers up. And that V12 BMW engine, the sound of it behind you, is just awesome. And it was so brilliantly packaged by Gordon Murray. It's got little luggage spaces and toolkits, and it's a usable supercar. Not that people want to, because they're worried about the £10 million it's now worth. And is it 12 million? Yeah. The trouble is, I don't like the long tail one that came out, and that was stupid for the regulations to make them quicker in the racetracks. They had to do that to compete against Porsche that had bent the rules to make their 911 work. So the original road-going short tail would be the one for me, and there's very few of those. But yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be beaten, because now the Bugatti Chiron with 1,500 horsepower. I mean, you don't drive it; a whole rank of computers drive it. And when you open the throttle, the computer decides you have 200 horsepower, 300 horsepower, depending on the road conditions. So nothing will beat the McLaren F1 ever.
That little toolkit you mentioned is titanium, by the way, which is but
Yeah.
you won't get one for anywhere near 10 million now. Tom Hartley's got a GTR for sale for 12.5 million. And that's the less desirable one. The standard road car is much more desirable. So I need a big lottery win on that one. I'm going to whiz through.
I should have sold my house to buy a McLaren. So I always remember when they came out, my house was worth about the same as a McLaren F1 at the time. And I thought, no, that'd be stupid. What invest in that? I always think that these people are making so much money, Tom Hartley, but I read today Coys have gone bust or something. And you would have thought Coys that, great auctioneers of supercars, I thought they were cashing money in the till. Yeah, apparently they've gone into arbitration.
Well,
shocking. You never know with businesses, do you?
No, you don't. Well, you've got Collecting Cars now, Edward Lovett and Chris Harris, and they do the online auction where every day there's something tasty going through, but it's free. So you go and pay Coys 12% of your £1 million to sell your McLaren or not McLaren, whatever it may be, or you go on to Collecting Cars and it's free. So I know which one I would use. And Edward Lovett's been in the game for a long time, and Chris Harris, he's a fairly trustworthy person to say the least. So,
well, how do they earn any money then? If they don't charge any sort of commission, they must charge something.
Put it this way, they're both doing a lot better than you and I.
Yeah, that's why you've got a huge overdraft that you need every fiver to try and reduce. And
right, I'm going to whiz through some questions.
And I haven't got a McLaren F1 in my garden.
Yeah, exactly. And any green ones that come up flashing in my peripheral vision, I will shoot to them. Twingo 133. I don't even know what a Twingo 133 is. That's Simon.
What?
Okay, sorry, Simon.
Twingo. Well, Twingo was a Renault Twingo, but 133. Do they still make Twingos? Twingo was a fun little car when it came out, but I'm not sure where we're at with this one.
Harshal just said the F1 at Mcrae sold. The last one sold publicly was 20 million US, so it's 15 million sterling. So crazy. Vipin, Paul and Tiff, how are you doing?
Great.
Wish we weren't in lockdown, but it is what it is. Assad, Tiff, can you collaborate with Clarkson? I know he was.
I could do. I'd love to do something again with Jezza. I like him. I grew up with him, but he's got a bit full of himself, and he's almost too famous for his own good now. But I still read the Sunday Times for his columns. Actually, I do enjoy what he writes. He's a brilliant writer. He writes some incredibly clever stuff, and people take the mickey out of him. Maybe he can't drive as well as some other presenters, but he loves cars. His history, his knowledge of cars is supreme, right back to the 60s, 70s. So he's a real car nut. And he might get a bit big for himself sometimes, but I'm a big fan.
Yeah, me too. He's a very, very clever man. Henry675 just says, do you like Pagani? Well, we got probably the ultimate Pagani, probably one of the battling up there with the McLaren F1 for the ultimate car of all time. Pagani's on the Cinque Roadster in the new TV show. So, and a lovely little story, Henry, that I went to see Horatio, I've known for a long time, and as he was handing me over the keys, he told me the story that he bought the car for 4 million euros a long time ago. He said since he bought the car, he'd driven it 1 kilometre, less than 1 kilometre. He's just been offered 12 million euros for the car, and this was going back a little bit last year. He said, be careful. So I'm driving this car thinking, my goodness, this is...
But Horatio, you love Pagani because you love Horatio Pagani, because he is just this dream enthusiast that's, worked for Lamborghini and Ferrari, didn't he? And he's now on his own and created his own dream car. And his passion for it is so lovely. And every time you go to the factory to pick a car up, as you say, you'll come out personally. And a really lovely man amidst a sort of a shark pool of the motor industry. So, yeah, hooray, all Paganis are lovely.
And apparently, William Millard just said the Twingo 133 was a limited run Twingo with 133 bhp.
Oh, cool. Well, I like it. I like the Twingos.
And don't forget, going back to McLaren F1, Turbo Terrific on Instagram. Super nice guy. Said that we can use his beautiful red McLaren F1 for, well, you can use it, not me, for the TV show. So that will be amazing. Getting you back in a McLaren F1 to do a bit of because for those that don't know, Tiff drove the McLaren F1, got the world record for a production car, 201 miles an hour. So very, very good. James Reed has asked quite a few questions, I think, or a couple of questions I've clocked. Once out of lockdown, and you had to choose one car and a route, what would it be and where would you go?
Well, McLaren F1, obviously, just until the petrol station stopped giving me petrol, I suppose. So I never know where you would go. I mean, you should always say about the Scottish roads and up through Wales and that sort of thing. But I'd probably want to head south into Europe and go tracking across through Germany, Switzerland, down through Italy, all the way down to Sicily. And then I'd drive around the Targa Florio course. I'd probably do the Mille Miglia route through Italy, then Targa Florio down in Sicily, and then park it up and just drink a lot of wonderful Italian wine for a long time.
Very good. Tav on Tyres. That's a good little YouTube channel. Best best daily M2 comp or a Golf R? M2 comp. M2 comp.
Oh, yeah, M2 comp, for goodness sake.
Not even a comparison for me.
Move on.
The Golf R is a great car, but it's
too efficient. It's got it just goes. It does everything brilliantly. And this is actually the trouble with modern cars. There are no real bad cars when you go out testing them. Everything's actually pretty impressive. And the cars are getting too good. So they've got no features. They've got no lift-off oversteer or no fid. You actually want something to be a bit nervy occasionally to give the car some character. And actually, when I did a Golf for fifth gear, but I don't know which one came out in the middle of the 2005s and 6s and 7s. I was down at Paul Ricard on a big launch test. And I criticised it in the end just because it was too good. It just did everything perfectly.
Anything for being
too good.
That's like people saying Tiff's not very good because he's too good.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm perfect.
Right, so we're going to give a 15-minute warning till 7 o'clock. I'm happy to go on. Let's see how it goes. 15-minute warning. So
that might get another fiver then if you can hang on to that long.
If the green light comes on again, we might extend that for a little bit longer. Bitu says the GTC4 Lusso V12 video was awesome. I love that video. And again, filmed in half a day.
Half a day, that was, yeah. The last thing before we got locked down when I was going up and down the high street in Marlborough. But yeah, that's a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful car.
Yeah. V12 naturally aspirated Ferrari is pretty much as good as it gets. And that we've got
pretty much extinct as well, but coming up.
We've got one in the new TV show alongside a DBS, so that's quite an exciting one. We search for a taste of Italy, which is good fun. Grant Challoner asks, have you been approached by Top Gear? And if you were, would you go back to Top Gear? I don't believe anyone could give up Lovecars for Top Gear.
I'd love to do anything. I really enjoy with you, Paul, doing Lovecars. But if I'm asked to go back on fifth gear or Top Gear, of course I'd go off and have a go and have a bit of fun, join in, and I see no reason why you can't be on multiple car shows if people want you to be on them. And the more I can have fun driving cars and passing on my enthusiasm to viewers, then I'll have a go wherever it is.
Well, it's you've just been on Drive Tribe. I saw that video. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The more people that you can get in touch with, the better. But better if people watch you on Love.
Obviously better. But this is. But I don't want to tell this, Paul. People pay me. This is what you don't understand. But these other people, you see, they pay me, Paul. You see, this is what you haven't quite understood. Yeah, don't tell me another fiver. You might have to pay me if this goes on. I might have to, start thinking about a fee. I enjoy it.
Looks like he's into cars because I can just see the logo a little bit. So I'm going to check AJ86 out after this. Pub fun, thanks guys. Brilliant. Pub fun. Well, I don't know, AJ. Sorry, is that a question or not? But Tiff, Tiff likes pub fun. That's for sure.
I feel like pub fun. All that pints of real ale that got thrown away. I was crying. Also, James May got caught, didn't he? Tried to finish off some real ale at his old pub, and I thought they could have invited us all round and just poured gallons into our jugs that we could have taken home or something to stop real ale being thrown away.
AJ6, if you have got a channel, put it in the link, would you, below, so we'll approve it, so we can get it on and we can have a look, if that's okay. So Rohan George says, the supercar you don't ever want to drive again.
Oh, probably Bugatti. I'm not interested in Bugattis at all. I just find them soulless. They're not an enthusiast drive. They're, brilliant machines, but big, bulky, heavy thing that does everything incredibly efficiently, but doesn't give me any passionate feedback. Sorry, Bugatti.
See, Tiff, with your engineering background, I think have you got a degree in engineering or some
civil engineering, concrete, yeah, a bit different to cars.
But still, you should be able to appreciate the absolute incredible workmanship, engineering, technology that goes into the Chiron. It is by far the top.
I know, but it's the passion, the soul that's missing. They're all. That's what I say. There's no bad cars, as you say. The finish of the Bugatti, the quality of everything is out of this world. But it doesn't give me the enjoyment driving it that other supercars, hypercars, whatever you want to call them, do.
Yeah.
Like Lamborghini, or most of them are four-wheel drive, which is, takes some of the fun of driving them away from you.
Yeah.
Flappy paddles take the fun away. Computers take the fun away.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably not a fun car, but it is just the most incredible car in terms of engineering. Just incredible.
But not pretty. You wouldn't say it was pretty, a Bugatti, would you? The styling.
I think the Chiron's beautiful.
Okay. All right.
Jay,
and choice. That's what motoring is all about. It's the beauty of cars. We'll never agree with everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like. It's all subjective. Your opinion and mine are going to differ sometimes. AJ86 said it was a bit of a typo. The fiver that he very kindly contributed was for our pub fund. So, Christoph from Patreon, A35 or A45. Would you get something like that, Tiff? For it's never going to see a track, but just we've had another one. I've only got flashlights.
Well, the AMG, the A35, 45, the AMG, the Mercs, the hot hatches. Yeah, all good stuff, but not particularly exciting for me. Impressive.
Yeah, nice little sound as well. That little backfire, little pop. I still love it. I'm so easily pleased with a little bit of a pop and a crackle, and I'm home and dry. In fact, we did a video a long time ago. We literally turned up with some friends. Petrol Ped, funny enough. Petrol Ped Bradley, funny enough.
Lecky Peddy.
Lecky Peddy, yeah. We got a few cars. I was in a Focus RS, I think, and we had a couple of other cars. Nothing sort of. They're all quite different, and we ended up doing a video, just a bit of an ad hoc video, and it ended up getting, I think, 600,000 views or something. And then we got slated because he likes the pops and crackles on the exhaust. He's so easily pleased. And,
You'll always get criticised, Paul, especially when you know that money spent on them teeth of yours. That's why you're going to get, you'll always get people picking on you because, that's what happens in life. I get criticised for your brown teeth and you get criticised for your white teeth. We had, didn't we, literally on one of our YouTube comment sections, I don't know what story it was I'd done, but we had an American comment, wasn't it? It was just, all he said was, his fucking teeth. No. Can we bleep? Oh no, I've done it now. Edit that one. And that was the only comment he made, was the colour of my teeth.
Yeah, but
apologies to all those that word shouldn't be used. BBC word.
You were quoting what somebody said, but
yeah, and if you watch the Netflix Gunther Steiner, you'll be very used to that word.
Absolutely. Do you know? But funny, isn't it? Because trolls are very funny because they think that they're being funny or disrespectful, whatever, but the laughs on them, we just pass around and we laugh our heads off at these people. The
things that have been said about me of just, everything, you just have to just ignore it. These people, I know there's some trouble in the modern world with trolls. They always seem to, get all so het up by it. But I still go back to the old sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, they cannot hurt me.
I agree with you. I'm with you on that. My mum used to say it all the time. So Henning Salverson, who kindly got the big green flashing light. We've now got a yellow flashing light. Another one saying, I love Tiff more than ever after this. He likes my dream car, the McLaren F1, and he likes my current car, the N2 Competition. Wow, what a cool dude. Henning, where are you? I guess Scandinavia somewhere, so we would love to come up there one day. So get your M2 warm for us if perhaps if ever we get out of lockdown. Oh, Mike Kelsal says the Bugatti looks like a Volkswagen Beetle. It's been on a chocolate diet.
Good man. There you go. It's not just me.
Why did I just say that? I don't agree with that. Tesla introduced a track mode version 2 which allows drifting. Thoughts?
Well, actually, funny enough, as you'll see on one of our little hits on our YouTube channel, I did get a good slide out of a Tesla 3, and on the track, it was amazing. It was wet, wasn't it, that day we tested the Tesla 3, and it's incredible grip and goes. I mean, it's four-wheel drive, it feels heavy, but it does grip and hold on, and you can give it a wag of its tail. And I'm not a fan of drift modes on road cars. I don't think, with forward focus, to my mind, it's a stupid thing to put on a road car. I mean, we'll get into trouble if we start drifting around corners on public roads too much. And to encourage people to press a button when they're an amateur driver that'll help them drift around a corner. Actually, I mean, Tesla love using the ludicrous for their power. Well, having a drift mode is ludicrous to me because they shouldn't be on any production road cars. If you can't drift yourself, don't bother. And
Ennio Theus said exactly the same sort of thing, really. He said about electric cars, 50 tyres, computer stability, so the same sort of thing with that. Have you got to drive the new Focus ST yet? I'm looking forward to the Bronco. Well, Bronco's very American.
Bronco, that's a pickup truck.
Yeah, Focus ST, no. But Fiesta,
different in America.
Fiesta ST we did, didn't we? We did Fiesta ST, Volkswagen, Golf, no, Polo. I get
just go to lovecars.com, videos, look at them all, and you'll find which ones we've done because we've forgotten.
Hopefully, Tom will play the little VT of the TV show now, and that will answer people's questions. But we had the Mini Cooper S, the Golf, the Polo GTI, and the Fiesta ST. One of the best items you'll ever see on any car program. Forget the budget that it was £3.50 to film the whole thing. Tiff Needell in a Ford GT around the absolutely will put the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Absolutely. Talk about emotion. Clearly, the guy can drive, getting the car sideways, and somebody just asked, do you ever get nervous about going sideways in a powerful, expensive car? But that is, we are going to launch the TV show with that item because it is that good. It's just amazing. Another great item that I love, Tiff, with you in it. All the good ones are just you on your own, to be honest. But another great item was we got the world exclusive on the TV features working. Sorry, but we got the world exclusive on the Rallycross First Electric Rally with Stard. Wow, that's a brilliant feature as well.
We've got a teaser. The teaser's actually on our web channel, or is it gone now? There was a little part of that. But yeah, that was an amazing opportunity to drive the first electric Rallycross car that they should be racing later this year as soon as they get racing going. And to me, that's what works with electric powered racing, because there's no lifting and coasting like they do in Formula E. And you just race it flat out for 5 laps and then get some new batteries. So that's a sort of form of, I think, where electric racing really does work. And I still haven't been convinced by Formula E. It's getting better until they got more batteries, they could have more power. Apparently, they ran them flat out. They'd run about 15 minutes of racing, whereas in fact they have to make it, 45-minute race. That's the amount of energy recovery, lifting, coasting the Formula E drivers have. Incredible skill for drivers, Formula E. But that sound. They've got an esports as well. So you've got that awful electric engine noise going on all the time on the esports, which doesn't do them any good. Another thing about esports, especially Formula E, because it doesn't usually have very big crowds, they've actually got grandstands in the graphics with only about half a dozen people in it, which I couldn't believe. If I was the boss of Formula E, I'd be going mental at the esports people for not filling the grandstands up. Bizarre. Some things are bizarre in this world.
They are really bizarre, aren't they? That's funny. So Henning, who donated twice, Jordan Thompson has just kindly told us that the second donation, $14. It wasn't a $5, it was $14. That was the second one. So he's donated twice. So wow, that's thank you very much. But
will they get the TV show in America though? Now you've got me worried that you're getting all excited. This is going to move. You've got a global distribution, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. It's so we've been asked that by a lot of our patrons or Patreon supporters, such as Manu and the guys from different parts of the world, Joe, Teddy, etc. And yes, it will be global. So in the UK, it'll be on quite a well-known channel, which is great. And it will be a global as well. So yeah, that's very, very exciting.
See, boys, I'm learning as well. I like having these YouTube chats because I find out what's going on with Lovecars that I don't know about.
It's the only time we ever talk. We never talk. It's just... so we've literally got TV show in Australia, absolutely. Whereabouts in Australia are you, Nez? Are you in Perth? I can't remember. I'm so sorry. There's so many questions coming through. Hi, Tiff. Best sports coupe of the noughties.
Oh, flip it now. Give me some choices, Paul. Come on, quick, fill me.
Sports coupe, GT84, Toyota.
Well, the Toyotas together, the Toyota and the Subaru, the two the same. That's a sports coupe, but it's quite a small category of sports coupe. The Lotuses, of course, the Evoras are always good fun. We need to drive more Lotuses. Sports coupe, that could include a BMW M4 sort of. Is that, I don't know where you're going with the category there.
GT86
choices.
I said GT84 was GT86. Tiff, let me ask you this, and then because we've probably only got time for a couple more questions, unless of course the big flashing light comes on, and then I can just look through and see if I've missed anyone that has donated some money. So Tiff, what annoys you the most on the road? I hate middle lane. This is Mike Kelsall. I hate middle lane hoggers and cyclists. Hate is a very strong emotion, Mike. Maybe I don't like them, but hey. Anyway, I love my 2005 BMW 330 diesel. Very nice. It's a convertible. For cyclists, I get the roar of my straight six diesel, and the cyclist gets my black smoke.
What? You won't have black smoke. What vintage? What year's that car has got? Is that a new diesel? How long ago? They don't smoke anymore. That's a shame about diesel, because I was very anti-diesel in the old days, horrible smoky things, but they've made them really clean and green, and now they've been put off it and blackened by their image. But yeah, middle lane hoggers are a bore. I don't get too upset. I just cruise along and avoid them all and try to relax as much. But yeah, middle lane hoggers and people that won't let you overtake. Slow lorries and tractors seem to be worse than they used to be for pulling over in a lay-by, like the law says they have to let you by. That gets me rankled living in the countryside a bit. And cyclists, we do need a bit more give and take. I mean, I think cyclists should wave a bit more to wave us by and thank us. But I said that on a Twitter, and they were mental against me. Why should I wave at something by law you have to do? And I pointed out, well, if someone's on a pedestrian crossing, I'm the pedestrian, and the car stops, which they legally have to, I would thank them for stopping. They've, used their brakes and petrol. And I think if cyclists could just, I actually had a cyclist I caught up. We've got a lot of country lanes around here, very narrow. And he actually took his hands up and said, wave me through. So he's acknowledging he knows I'm there. And he said, right, you overtake now and I'll be happy and you'll be happy. Well, actually, over to I stopped and got out and said, thank you very much. If only more cyclists help the drivers get past on narrow lanes, instead of just, having this, I'm a cyclist, I'll go wherever I want to go and you have to overtake when and if. But don't upset cyclists. Don't upset them. Twitter will kick off.
It's like upsetting EV people. I went on a ride this morning. It's Oliver's, my son's birthday. He's 9 today, so I got him a little bike and we went for a ride. And my backside is painful on the ride, Tiff, I hasten to add. And it's really horrible riding on the road. It's horrible. So South Australia, which is Holden land, ex-Holden. Tiff's dog's called Otis, 2005. Dr. Rena, I'm sorry, it's not your name. It's my eyes and how the screen is. Dr. Rena. What can we expect from you guys after lockdown? Well, the TV show is what we're working on at the moment during lockdown. And what are you looking forward to, Tiff?
More having fun. I like you taking me on weird adventures with motorbikes and odd cars and things and trips and road trips and drag races, which you love. I'm beginning to enjoy drag races. They get a lot of hits. People seem to love drag races, but getting the start right and practicing starts is very sort of, subjective. So it's a bit of fun not to be taken too seriously. But yeah, we always like getting the drag races going. I prefer lap times around racetracks, which Paul says, what's the point of those? And I'm saying, what's the point of drag races? So lots more stuff like that where we disagree.
Yeah, which is great. I think we're going to do a few more drag races because they're just a bit of fun, aren't they? And let's be fair, if you close your ears for a minute, he's a little bit quicker than me around the track. So drag races, I think, kind of still beat him. Oh, there's some lovely thanks, guys, about the best wishes for Oliver, my son. That's very kind of you to say that. Thank you very much. I think it's got to be the last question from Simon Fox, and it is: Tiff, have you ever driven multi-plat, and do you like the styling?
Was that the weird thing with 3 seats in the front? See, I can't know all these things.
Multi-plat is really, really square.
Yeah, with 3 seats in the front, wasn't it? It was sort of goggly fun eyes.
Yeah.
Weird looking thing. I loved it for being weird. I do see it might not look pretty, but I do like things that are different. That's what you want in cars, something that's different. Long may we live with difference. All sorts of engines and power and body and shapes and sizes. That's what we need.
I think the multi-plat was amazing. I think we've got to end on this last one because Paranjay has just said, God, there's so many coming through. Wow. Paranjay just said about you racing in India. There's a lovely story about you racing in India because you didn't just race, you won the...
I am the winner of the 1993 Bangalore Grand Prix. Don't think Nigel Mansell won that, or Ayrton Senna, or anybody else. I won the Bangalore Grand Prix. So, yeah, great trip that was. Yeah, love going to India.
So, before Tiff signs off, 6 seats for the multi-plat. Thank you, Nez. So, want to know a couple of things. Want to know, do you want any more of these? And we want to do some more lockdown chats with people like Ben Collins. So, whoever it may be, let us know, and we will try and get them onto that because that's something we want to do. So, anyone you want to see within reason, we can't get Jeremy Clarkson. Tiff is not going to phone him up and say, "Come on, Lovecars," and he just So within reason. We can't even get Chris Harris, to be honest with you. In fact, they're quite small, but entertaining. That's probably the best thing. But so please let us know who you'd like to see on some lockdown chats, and we can ask them some questions and maybe get some interesting facts about that person or whoever it may be. Maybe someone like Leon will come on and we can do that. And also whether you want to see more of these lives as well, because it's fantastic. Fantastic to get these questions, and there's so many people that we haven't answered questions to that I feel terrible about. You want to say bye?
Well, you didn't say goodbye. You was in full tilt. Great to hear from so many of you. I do like this one-to-one interaction. So hopefully next time we'll last it for a bit longer, and Paul might get a few more fibres out of it. So thanks for watching, listening, or whatever you describe it as. I look forward to seeing you all soon.
Cheers, guys.